Welcome to the Sunset Rising YouTube channel. For our first actual video, we thought to give a brief history lesson into what Cyberpunk is. What we're going to discuss today is in fact not Cyberpunk 2077, the game itself, but the genre it belongs to and how we got to this point. I'm not going to go into full depth here, as I just want to go over some of the shows, movies, and books that paved the way for Cyberpunk 2077. In a later vid, we'll go over some games that laid the foundation for Cyberpunk 2077. Warning. These are my opinions and may be counter to what you think. If you feel some kind of way about things, please leave a comment. So, what exactly is cyberpunk and what constitutes or makes something cyberpunk in nature? A lot of people think that if you have characters hooked up to the internet or have cybernetic limbs, it's default to cyberpunk. That isn't necessarily the case. It also isn't a purely dystopian society that makes it cyberpunk. The thing that is usually lost is the punk aspect of the word. People seem to want to focus on the cyber part because it's cooler, but you can't separate punk from cyberpunk and think you're still in the same genre. Cyberpunk is both, but more punk than cyber. It's the main character's subversion of the law and society at large, turning almost nihilistic in nature towards the life they lead. They may escape to a virtual world to ease the pain of their fictional real life, but they're also looking, or in some cases forced, to take on an aspect of society and become some sort of hero, for lack of a better word. Another aspect of cyberpunk as a genre is a view of how society became the way it is. Was it through failing governments, international corporations, conglomerates usurping power, a total submission to everything digital, or a breakdown of societal norms? Now, cyberpunk as a genre has been around for as long as I've been alive and longer. What many don't know, or may not realize, is that cyberpunk came about through writing. William Gibson is credited with bringing the term cyberpunk mainstream with this book Neuromancer, but you can go further back and see cyberpunk in Isaac Asimov's robot series starting in the 1950s, or look at Philip K. Dick and do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. Indeed, these two and more are thought to have laid the foundation for what would become cyberpunk. There are a number of authors that looked at the 60s and 70s and wanted to explore the opposite or dark side of society at the time, but it wasn't until Gibson brought forth his collection of books that cyberpunk had a name and a place in the science fiction realm. Through the 80s, Japan had begun to establish itself as the premier home of cyberpunk, with anime manga such as Bubblegum Crisis, Akira, Goku Midnight Eye, and Ghost in the Shell among others. The genre was given life. Also around the same time as the anime manga explosion of cyberpunk, Ridley Scott gave us Blade Runner, perhaps the best depiction of the crossroads of dystopia and cyberpunk, which is loosely based on Philip K. Dick's novel. The distinction must be made, however, that Blade Runner is more dystopian than cyberpunk in the sense that the ethos, high-tech, low-life, is mostly not at the forefront of the movie. The setting and time period is without a doubt high-tech, and there are elements of low-life, but it is more detective noir. The Western populace at large would get their first real taste of cyberpunk through the movie The Matrix. Now, I'll say it and stand by it, but the first Matrix is the only one that is really cyberpunk. After that, it gets into science fiction and something else I haven't been able to place. But what came before Matrix deserves mention just as much. The movies Hackers, Strange Days, RoboCop, Johnny Mnemonic, Free Jack, those movies were and still are cult classics that are true to the heart of what cyberpunk is. Thanks for watching, and again, if you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe. See you in the next vid.